Well, I'm going to be working on the PowerPoint and some music and things like that this week, so that's pretty exciting.
Upgrades.
Well,
Time
exactly.
to work
Oh
on
my
things.
gosh.
Anybody else noticing you've got time to work on some things? There is definitely time. Isn't it nice?
Yes.
Gaps of time.
In fact, I was up working on our newsletter. How many of you guys got that in the email this week or last night? Yeah, you guys will be getting, who we have your addresses, you'll be getting it in the mail too. So it's exciting because we're now at a whole month of being able to do our church service over Zoom, which is very, very exciting. Oh my goodness. So one of the things that I came across just this week, which dovetails so beautifully into some scripture and what we've heard from Charles Fillmore, just take a moment to just take this poem that was written by Lynn Unger. She wrote it at mid-March. Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling. Give up just for now on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing and pray. Touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. How beautiful, for better or worse, right? We make a pledge.
I love that.
And then Charles Fillmore here was saying the definition of marriage, like a spiritual marriage. This is what Charles Fillmore says. Spiritually, marriage represents the union of two dominant states of consciousness. When we open the door of the mind by consciously affirming the presence and the power of the divine I am in our midst, there is a marriage or union of the higher forces in being with the lower, and we find that we are quickened in every part. The life of the I am has been poured out for us. Wow. It's the union of two dominant states of consciousness. When we open the door of our mind by consciously affirming the presence and power of the divine I am in our midst, there is a marriage of the higher forces. That's why I think this is so important, guys, that we're still gathering, that we're still in this beautiful union together, right? And what's being called of us now, I mean, there's something so beautiful and sacred during this time that, like no other time, that the Psalms 23 makes more sense now than ever, right? The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters, and he restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Sheep trust their shepherd. Experience and the surrounding flock tell the sheep that wherever the shepherd leads, they will be provided for. Even as the valley gets dark, rocky, and difficult, the sheep trust the shepherd to lead them out of it. For me, this passage is a reminder that even when I have no idea what's going on or where my life is going, God is in charge and I can trust him. Wow.
You know, this is really a beautiful experience that we've been having lately. Yesterday, Tamara and I were watching an old version of 60 Minutes where they're taking old Holocaust survivors and videotaping them from multiple angles, and then they're playing their image back interactively. So you can ask them a question, where were you born? And they're going to answer it even though they've been gone for 2 or 3 years. So it's an artificial intelligence audio, video that's being played, but it's fully interactive. And it's beautiful to see children of 5, 10 years old asking questions of these people that have been through the Holocaust. And I was thinking, my God, you know, some of them really, you know, when they ask them, some of the kids say, have you forgiven what's happened? And some of them have said yes, but some of them say, I will never forgive. And we should never forget. And I'm just thinking, you know, it's one thing if you're being attacked and you have to stay in your home and there's an enemy and they're you know, really out there destroying you know, people's homes and doing malicious things to people. What's happened is we have this act of God, right? That's what they're called. Something drops on your house and your house is destroyed. What do they call it? An act of God. Right? It's not this horrible, terrible thing that happens. It's like, hey, you're going to end up with a new house or at least a new roof. And we have this pandemic that's an act of God. And it's wiping something clean. It's wiping something out. You know, the air is more clear. The sky is more blue. The people are more careful. I'm just noticing even myself. I mean, I have a fairly, you know, I have a Tesla, which I love. It's electric. And there's a mode that you put it in, and it's got a lot of power and a lot of speed. And I kind of put it back to the old mode because it was more peaceful and more comfortable and probably a little more safe. And, you know, when Tamara and I were watching this video yesterday, we're like, how important is it to be able to glean from the lives of people that have been through horrible things and manage to forgive? For children who are being raised with a lot of training in sports, and you got to beat them and get back at them, and you know, and to just be able to see these people that have been through these really tough times and gone through that, and remember these prayers and poems that remind us that the beauty of Christ's life, of Jesus' life, was that he forgave, and he brought this whole paradigm of forgiveness. Like, you want, give them all your sins are all gone. Just right now, we got this whole new paradigm where with forgiveness, it can all be wiped out. So I've had a really beautiful time this last week, just really settling into what's happening instead of worrying about the future or being mad about the past and how things didn't or did work out. It's been really an incredible gift if you just embrace it.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the most beautiful things that Eckhart Tolle was just recently speaking of too is when there is a time period of what is perceived as loss or a pandemic or something that can stir up an enormous amount of fear, there's an opening. There is more space that has an opportunity to come around our hearts like nothing else can. Like nothing else can. And you know what? It reminded me of when I was this was years ago, I was experiencing a potentially huge loss in a divorce. So it could be a divorce, it could be a a job loss, it could be income, it could be I'm going to be sick, and all those are imaginations into the future of what could be. And science medically has shown us that if we stay in those states of fear, if we constantly perpetuate in that fear, we can actually draw it towards us.
It's called the nocebo effect.
The nocebo effect. In fact, Greg, in his book, he's written about the killing stick. It's considered a weapon now because the power of the mind to create or miscreate is so powerful that this killing stick is, if someone points the stick at you, the curse is that you are going to die.
It's Aborigines in Australia will take a regular stick to a witch doctor, and he'll curse it, and then if you point the stick at someone, they actually die. And they're so effective that the Australian government to this day says killing sticks are illegal. And you got to wonder, like, what's going on? There's no bullets coming out of the thing, but consider
There's
the placebo
no poison
effect.
on it.
The
Right?
placebo effect, we know, and this is I just heard this recently, that Prozac is just as effective as a placebo. So placebos are as effective as Prozac. If you give people a little sugar pill and say this will relieve you of whatever your anxiety or tension or depression is, it's as effective as Prozac. And I was going, wait a minute. Now I don't know if this is scientifically true or not, but I do know that the mind is able to create everything first. I mean, if you think of any building or any architecture, we create it first in our mind, then we put it down on paper, and then hammer and nails, it manifests. So experiences that we have, we can architect them first by watching a bunch of garbage on TV, right? Or whatever. I mean, I like watching YouTube videos, but I've been more selective lately. I'm not filling my head with as much trash. And in that, there's an architecting for a new reality, a new future.
There really is. In fact, I think people are, even myself, can feel a little guilty for actually feeling more peace or feeling happier or feeling a little more joyful that there's not so much going on. In fact, there was a beautiful video about what's happening with the animals on the planet. And the dolphins, especially. As you guys all know, my heart is just like one with dolphins for sure. They are literally swimming in those biodescent, it's like the bioiridescent. It's like this blue neon color that's available in the oceans now, and the dolphins are going crazy, just swimming through this beautiful cast of blue neon light, which is just it's fascinating and it's gorgeous. And deers for the first time are prancing through the waves because it's not populated by people are staying in, and there's some healing that's taking place on Mother Earth that is grateful. There's this gratitude that's rising up that there's not this vibrational hum of machinery or technology. Certainly in the airwaves are going on for sure, but there's something that's happening that is beautiful on the planet. And I'm wondering if we dare speak of that, if we dare say, you know what, there's something awesome that's happening. And I will tell you that when I was going through a terrible feeling that my previous husband was having an affair, and he was I knew it was the beginning of the end. And there was such excruciating pain that ripped through my being, okay, just like the shock of what? Everything that we've ever known previously has been altered. Everything. Just like it was in, oh my God, there's an affair was happening. Everything I had imagined in my life previously was over. And after the initial shock of deep ripping and a deep pain, almost like a wolf crying from the inside of my being, there was a sweet surrender. There was just like, okay, God, if I'm going to keep living, because I didn't want to, I literally didn't, I thought my life was over as I knew it. Many of us think our life was over as we knew it prior to March and after March, right? We can say my life is completely different. And it is by all certain reasons. And it was in my previous marriage. It was over as I knew it. And in that pain, there was, if I was going to keep living, there was such a sweet surrender that happened that God, if my life is going to be completely different from everything I ever imagined it to be, I am going to take this leap off the cliff because I don't care anymore. I don't care if I drop at the bottom of the cliff and it's over. Awesome. But if I'm going to take this leap, and if I am caught in your hands, and there is some other plan that you have for me, that you are going to cradle me in the palm of your hands, where I am going to be caught and know a completely different reality, I'm open. I'm open to that too.
And this is
And what
this is a cycle too, though, because it starts with the shock, right, and then anger and sadness, and then you got to that point where you could actually say, "Wow, this is I'm not going to just my heart isn't just going to stop beating," and that's where we get open.
Right, and there was something so beautiful. There was a peace that you talk about surpassing all understanding. There was a peace that flooded my being in such a way that I was like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to keep living. We're going to keep breathing. There is going to be a different plan for me, and I have no idea what it could be. No idea. And then what happened after that is that I got the hit. Tamara, you love teaching. You love loving. You love being married. You love sharing your life in a divine partnership that could be better than anything you would have ever known previously. Right after that, I made one phone call to a mentor who I had been a guest speaker on, and she was wanting to retire from being a human sexuality professor at the #3 college in all of the United States. And she said, honey, I'm going to teach you everything I know. I'm going to give you every one of my materials. And not only that, you are going to come as the most highly recommended professor to precede me, to come after me. And I said, let's do this. So I went through the process. I was a licensed psychotherapist. I was all of these things. I had the credentials to do what it took. I applied. I was instantly hired. Instantly hired. I could have never imagined my life previously to this affair being better than what it ever was before, and yet it was happening. And then soon after that, what happened was I got to meet the love of my life.
And I got to meet a human sexuality professor right out of a monastery.
Who was actually a celibate monk, right? That taught me everything I actually know, right? How cool is that? What if we dared to imagine that the space that this pain or that this opening or that this unknown is bringing about is a space for something better than what we ever imagined before? And I had the thought and the vision that something that dropped in, that what if it was so perfect that Jeff got an opportunity Jeff,
Oh,
Jeff, our cook,
okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
Lost his job, not lost, but transitioned from his job. He was freed from his job to actually have a restaurant, which so many restaurants are now closed. And he got to team up with Francis, who it's like, you guys are amazing cooks. And there were grants now available that got to feed the masses as you've been able to feed us, Jeff and Francis, who I got to see yesterday, but she's a little nervous on all this technological stuff. That the opportunities are like, wait a minute. what can happen now? Not only a grant, I'm going to be trying to apply for some things for Unity. I'm trying to apply for things for Brooks Brothers and for what's possible that we can ride this wave, that God hasn't forgotten us. Right in here, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures right now. What could be better than that? He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul in this quiet. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, even though people are dying, right? We're all going to die. But how are we right now? Not how are we in the future, not how are we in the past. How are we right now? We're together.
And think of what Tamara's saying. I mean, how many of you, if you just rewind about 2 months, how many of you are like, oh, let me go lay down in a green pasture? I mean, it was like we were too busy. We were just too busy. But this is the way the human organism works, right? We want to evolve spiritually, and we can read it out of a book, but the fact is most of us aren't willing to jump off the cliff that way. And thank God, literally, that chaos comes along so that whatever we're stuck in, like some robot, it all of a sudden stops in some way. And we've got to reevaluate. And we got to say, okay, now what? And look around a little bit. Because most of us, we were like this just before coronavirus, right? So this is like, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Oh, well, one way to keep people from wanting is to take everything away from them. Like all those things, oh, I gotta have this makeup, and I gotta have those shoes, and I gotta have this tool, and I gotta have that, car, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, well, I can't want all that because the resources aren't there anymore. But I still got 24 hours in a day, and there's plenty of opportunities for quality time. So we're looking at this and we're noticing this is turning into, when you look at how does this always work? Well, at first there's shock, and then there's anger, and then there's sadness, and then on some level there's this acceptance, but then eventually we're all going to get to a place where there's this incredible appreciation for a new lifestyle that we couldn't of our own have chosen prior to this pandemic.
Well, and I was so excited because I go, God, I really want more time during the week to devote to ministry. I love our Sundays, and I wanted more time during the week. And I was up till 12:30 last night, just so excited with getting out all this information that some of you guys are going to get in your email, you're going to get in your mail, because I just love ministry, guys. I love it. I love the way we get to connect soul to soul and heart to heart. And there is been some space. There's been an opening that I'm like, wow, what is possible for Unity's family now? What is available now? And I even wrote from Kubler-Ross, one of her quotes is that people are like stained glass windows. They sparkle and shine when the sun is out. But when the darkness sets in, their true beauty is revealed only if there is light from within. The true beauty, guys, is what's happening, is that our light from within. And I am so committed to seeing more light from within come through the airwaves in our technology, in what's beautiful is our Zoom right now. But what'll be even better is with some slides that'll be more appealing, more transcendent, more portals, more the sound of music where we can hear Dylan even better, where we can hear music that takes us to that place where we are so here with each other, right? That our light is just pouring through us. I'm glad we got to hear Dylan's voice this morning. And I just know that there's more opportunities for us now that we are being even opened with more space of how we're going to connect, how restaurants are going to open, how Unity's restaurant is going to open to feeding the masses. I know that Jeff, in his heart, he's got that heart of service in wanting to provide that for people. You guys, if all of us together can think of ways that there's a grant that may be able for him to cook from here in ways that are essential, to feeding more people. How cool is that? That Unity and the family of Unity gets to open up in ways like that that we could have never imagined. And guys, in ways that you guys could never have imagined, in contributing, in donating. You cannot, I cannot tell you how much it warms my heart to see just the few people. One person has even done like a reoccurring donation through through PayPal and through some beautiful, generous checks that have come to Brooks Brothers that are going to come through Unity's mailbox here. I mean, that's ways that we can go, okay, we can get a new laptop. Oh my God, okay, we can really study a little bit more about how things can be more seamless in transition so that not all the weight is on Greg's shoulders from trying to make it happen when he's got it set up and then they don't happen last minute.
You can actually hook up the stove that was donated.
Oh my gosh, Jeff's going to be here. Greg's going to be here this next week to hook up the stove that's available. Imagine, because that stove's being hooked up, that now we're going to get a grant where we can now cook and essentially be an essential business that actually feeds people. How cool is that?
Possibly.
That we can come here with our masks, we can come here with our gloves, and we can virtually hug each other with our eyes, but we're feeding God's, if you love me, feed my sheep, right? That we can feed each other. And how cool is that? Oh my gosh.
So you guys must have some dreams. Some dreams that when you were a child, because I know it's happening for me, there's little things like, oh, you know, I got to put that off because of the busyness. But now is a time to maybe take out a blank piece of paper and spend a little time with it and say, well, okay, this is over. This is done. This is going to be different. The old reality, the old paradigm is going to shift. But what's available now that wasn't? Or what is it that I put in the, put away that I would really like to do now? Like, I haven't been to Hart Park in a while, or I haven't been to Lake Ming in a while, or I haven't been to the beach in a while, or whatever it is, right? So what are the things that you now have time for? What are the things, it's like when things get really bad, buy seeds, right? That's when they really, really get bad. And
guys, and what if we planted a garden here at Unity out
back? You've
thought
about that too?
We turn it, because now's the time for sure. Portia had donated for us to plant a couple of fruit trees, so we're going to go with some oranges. What if we did some vegetables? What if Unity cooked with the vegetables we grew with our hands? We provided people with the fruit that we grew right here in our backyard.
And how healing would it be to have our own hands, like your hands back in the soil? For those of you that have done gardening,
we pour the love into every one of the vegetables and the fruits and the herbs, right? Okay, so let's go with some herbs. And how cool is let's just turn our backyard into Unity's garden. Unity's garden. The Garden of Eden, the Garden of Unity.
So
it just came to me.
For as long,
right?
As long as I've known Tamara, there's something that happens about once a month where she just goes out and she spends about 3 or 4 hours in the garden and I have to come out and like hand her gloves because she's like tearing through bougainvillea and everything, and she's like, and it's like it's really healing to get our hands in the soil that way.
And now it's time to plant the bougainvilleas that will be a beautiful a backdrop for our Garden of Unity.
And there's something amazing. We have friends from Nova Scotia, and we were last year on a cruise, and we were able to visit them while we were there. And I said, how do you like Nova Scotia? And they were from, mainstream Canada around Vancouver. And they were like, it's unbelievable. So it's this little tight sort of fishing town. And they were like, and I said, well, tell me some stories. And they're like, well, this one guy was over in this other guy's barn, and he had like an old musket barrel that he was using to like close the door with. And the guy looked at it and he said, oh my God, that's like a World War, that's like a World War I musket from way back. And the guy had no idea. And he said, really? I just use it to open the door. And he said, that thing's a piece of artifact, right? And he left it and said, you should do something with that. It's worth something, I'll get you a steel bar or something. And he said, that night, he found the thing on his doorstep with a little note on it that said, this is more valuable to you than me. And that people are like that. One person will grow corn, and the person will grow tomatoes, and they just sort of give it to each other, just leave it on each other's doorstep. And they're always checking in with each other. What do you need? How are you doing? What's going on? And there's a lot of like service that just gets passed around. In fact, I'm thinking when we visited them, I was like, wow, they're living all the time the way we've been living, a little bit more because of this pandemic. And 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 watching, I catch little pieces of the news when I go in the living room, and I've seen, oh, this, they really make it to be something really just tough, and we got to stand for it, and we got to fight it. And I was like, think of Hiroshima. Something really horrible happened, and for their entire life, everyone had an after effect of that. Physically, people were developing diseases, and they had scars physically all over their body. You think of the Holocaust and how horribly to be stolen from and incarcerated and beaten and tortured and used for experiments and murdered. And we have this pandemic where none of that's happening. And there is death, but there's no murder here. There is death. And that is something that deserves some attention and deserves some processing and grieving. And if you know people that are going through it, help them grieve. Help them to appreciate what's been lost. Get to that place. And it can't go too fast, right? I have a little website. I'll share it, but I'm not I'm not putting it, I'm not like promoting it yet. It's called Thank Coronavirus. And it's just for people that have gleaned the beautiful gift that has come from it, where they can post on a blog. And I'm not advertising it because it's not nice to tell people that are going through grieving to see the brighter side. There's a process that we have to take our time, and we have to feel the feelings and get clear and let go. We do not let go of thoughts easily. Paradigms. I believe this, and this is the way I believe. And we've all found out, everyone here has believed 100%. I know I'm absolutely positively right about this. How many of you have known that you've been absolutely positively right about something, found out you were dead wrong? Just put your hand up. Ever happened for anybody? Right. For all of us, right? Well, let's find out that our paradigm that we thought was all right, that we lost, maybe we were wrong. Maybe it's like, oh, wow, new reality, new truth. I didn't know the truth. And now I'm seeing the truth through the gift of a pandemic.
Well, and I will have to say, too, that whenever I start to think about the future, I can get really scared of, financially, there's no customers coming into Brooks Brothers, and, I'm just like, oh my goodness. But when I think about how am I doing right now, right? And I put space around there, or I start to worry about unity and how are we going to sustain, our building and the bills that still do come in, and definitely needing a laptop, and definitely wanting to plant a garden, all those things. It's like, I think we just come together as a family. And I think coming together, like in that marriage of what Charles Fillmore was talking about, when we gather together, we feed each other, right? And there was a thing I posted up on Facebook, is that when there's all these people that were trying to feed themselves from a bowl that was in the middle, and they were trying to get the spoon to themselves, and the spoon would break or the food would fall out. But they found out that when they took the spoon and they started to feed each other, everybody got fed. Everybody got fed. Everybody was, and that's like a metaphor for, being nourished and nurtured, by our spiritual family. That's what one of the things Greg and I wanted to say is, if there's somebody that does need something, if there's something that we can provide, if we can go to you, if we can bring you something, if we can set, up your Zoom on your computers for the congregants and who don't have that, we're happy to do that, because I know that even like when Cheryl comes by Brooks Brothers, she's going to come by tomorrow, because one of the fun things we're looking up is her DNA. But just by virtue of the fact of just being in each other's presence, whether it be here by Zoom or whether we can connect just for a short or brief time, it's like, oh, there you are. And it's like all there's like this whole sense of well-being. Even when Tricine walked in here, where Ed walked in here too, it's like, Oh, yeah, there you are. And there's that feeling that we're not alone. We're not alone. That we're here and that we're together and that we do bring that same like-mindedness, that same consciousness of trusting that God is in control and that
And
all is well.
loss and poverty and weakness, these are states of mind. I mean, you got to really look at the statistics. You guys know I was promoting statistics a lot, and one of the statistics I love is if you live in America and you have a refrigerator and a roof over your head, you are among the top 0.0001% of the wealthiest people in the world. If you have a refrigerator and a roof over your head, we are the wealthiest people in the world. Poverty is a state of mind. And Tamara and I used to go and do these workshops for people that were struggling with poverty. And it was a workshop called Reignite, because we were going to help them reignite a new reality, right? And in this workshop, what we basically would do is get people to start exercising prosperity consciousness. Prosperity consciousness basically is just by saying, all right, if I get $1, I'm going to put 10 cents away, and I'm going to say, this is going to be for my future. And I'm going to put 10 cents away, and this is for fun, right? Because when you only have $1, you're like, I don't have enough money to have fun. But if you put a percentage, a little percentage of everything you put away, all of a sudden, this thing, and this has been proven over and over again, some of the best people that teach prosperity do the same thing. Just take a little bit and put it away for this. Give away. There's got to be donation. You got to give a little bit away. Why? Because people that have prosperity can give. People that have prosperity can have some fun. So what we found was when people were in poverty consciousness, if we schedule, just put on the schedule, have some fun, go help somebody else, give whatever you can. It doesn't have to be money. Go give some time. Go do something nice. Trim your neighbor's, front lawn. Or Tamara, is like nobody can get their nails done, right? Just buy some nail polish and leave it on your neighbor's
I am going to
doorstep or
Target,
something.
Cindy. I'm going to get that jail thing.
So the point is that if we shift the mind first, the law of attraction will put us in this zone. Oh, here's a prosperous person. They are a prosperous person living a prosperous life, because they're taking prosperous action with a prosperous mindset. And then you find, whoa, lo and behold, there's lots of prosperity and there's plenty to give.
Well, and you guys, there was something that helped me so tremendously, even this week, was watching the History Channel, the Smithsonian. And we were watching the Knights Templar, and we were watching the lost city of Atlantis. And throughout the centuries from way back, there's been enormous prosperity for 100 years at a time. And then there's the destruction of it. And then there's the rebuilding. And then there's the destruction. And then there's the rebuilding. And I thought, wow, this has been going on forever. And just because something of a paradigm is being torn down right now doesn't mean that it's not going to be rebuilt. I mean, there were gorgeous temples that were built that over time had eroded because of wars or whatever. But then people came in and started building little places to live. If push came to shove, we can just section off Unity here, and we've got our whole little community that we've got. Maybe some rooms with the bathroom and a community kitchen. So
who knows?
Who knows? And I'll be fine.
If you talk to any historian, they'll tell you, and people especially, the Roman Empire reached this place of such arrogance and so much, wealth and prosperity that the civilization had to collapse. And I've been hearing for decades that here in the West, in America, in civilized, Western lifestyle, that we've reached that place and there's no way it can last. And I was like, okay, but historically this is proven, right? So, but notice that everything evolves. We all believe that we are learning and we are getting better, and there is this enlightenment and this thing that's happening, like all of look, women didn't used to vote, and slavery was popular, and people were being tortured and beheaded. And now we have this whole different world. What if this is the end of a civilization, but nobody, the whole thing, that you don't have to drop an atomic bomb or a flood that wipes out everybody, or the whole thing has to crash and burn and be pillaged. what if, because we do have people in place with a higher consciousness, what if this is the end of a civilization, a way of life, and there's going to be a new beginning that's going to be far more compassionate? What if this thing that we're looking at right now is the awakening, the dawning of a new age that we've all been hearing, like people, oh, that we're going to go up to the top of the mountain and sell all we have and wait for the devastation? What if it's going to be more gentle than that? What if we are willing to be more open than we have in the past, where it doesn't all have to be burned to the ground or destroyed? So
we'd love to open it up to you, and this is a place where you can really. It's okay.
We're going to have to mute the
Okay.
So you'll have to unmute yourselves, but feel free to go ahead. We were going to mute everybody, but
yeah, go ahead and unmute one at a time. Or
who would like to share?
Who would like to share what's come up for you? And it's really okay if there's been an awakening of a sense of peace. I know that Mickey has been working on her art studio. Oh my gosh! And to have workshops up there where people get to be creative. Mickey, share with us what's happened for you.
Oh, it's amazing we took a workshop that we had that was just basically a catch-all for everything. And so we had to get everything out of there, and it is just gorgeous. It is beautiful.
Wow.
And being up here in the mountains has just been wonderful. It's like,
maybe we'll all have a retreat up there one day.
I was just thinking that it would be great to have everybody come up here and do that. That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yes, it would.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you, Mickey.
Yeah.
Okay, who else?
Anybody else?
Let me do it.
Oh, there's BJ. Go ahead.
This whole quarantine thing has really been a blessing in disguise, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I've reconnected with another spiritual leader that I would have never connected. Our lives crossed paths because of this quarantine stuff. And so it's like, this is really cool because I've reconnected with Greg and Tamara, and now I'm reconnecting with Reverend Burrell, and it's just like, oh, universe, thank you. It's a blessing. It really is. And I agree with you, Greg. It's your perception on how things happen to you. What are you going to do? Are you going to let things happen to you, or are you going to kind of grab the bull by the horns and say, okay, I'm going to do something with this? And so anyways, I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Nico.
Thank you. Oh, no, BJ.
I'm sorry, DJ. Rebecca.
I agree that this is that new beginning, new awakening, but in a subtler way than what a lot of people thought that it might be. I agree with what you were saying. It didn't have to be total destruction of the world in order for that new beginning to be happening. I think that, what was it, December 21st, was it, 2012? That was supposed to be the...
Oh, yeah. The end of the world.
Well, as I always saw it, as we knew it.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that something did happen then, or the beginning of a new dawn started happening, and it's just evolving, and it's come to this point, and we're now in this new dawn, this new this change, as you, Tamara and Greg, were saying. It's sad that people are dying and stuff, but rebirth is painful, and but it's also joyful, and this new awakening. And I've had a lot of positive things come out of it for myself too, both spiritually and everything. But I agree. I think it's that new beginning for the whole world.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
very exciting. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Cindy, do you want to share a little?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Things are good.
Still in it, huh?
Still in it. Still in it. Things are good. Money's flowing. That was our main worry. We don't have to worry because we put ourselves in God's hands.
Amen.
And so, yeah, it's.
Yeah, I'm hearing someone with. Do you have a little bird in the background?
Yeah, they're outside.
Yeah, our birds.
I
We
mean,
have a mama
God,
bird and babies.
talk about wealth. Just listen to that. Just a little chirp.
Right.
You know, Tamara, she has a pet squirrel that lives in we have these beautiful redwoods on our property, and we'd love to have you guys over as soon as this thing passes for a little bit. But his name's Rocky, and she feeds him, and he comes and takes peanuts like right out of her hands. He's learned to really trust her. And I was like, my God, what a beautiful connection.
Mhm. Me and the ducks too.
Thank you. Do
Yeah.
you want to share anything, Jeff?
Oh, I'm just appreciative of, seeing you guys every Sunday, and I want to get back so bad, and I just want to find out what the plan. You want to give me a call later on and tell me what the plan is for this week?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah,
And you know what? What do you think about Garden of Unity?
I
What do you
love
think?
it.
Planning.
I'm on board.
Let's
My
do it.
garden is pretty expansive here in this yard.
Well,
And I
let's-
love gardening. I mean,
let's do the
vegetables,
same thing.
herbs.
Let's do the same thing back here, and
Yeah.
we'll actually cook from it. Do you know that Disney World does that? They cook their own. I mean, they grow their own plants, vegetables, and fruits, and they use it in the restaurants there.
And in New
Wow.
York, what's fascinating in Manhattan, they have rooftop gardens where they get permission to plant, gardens. And they have these little, I know when I was down in Santa Monica, they would get a block, someone would donate a block, and everyone in the neighborhood could claim like 10 square feet or something, or 5 square feet, a little plot. And did you know that you can grow on 2 square yards, or just 2 yards by 2 yards, you can grow almost everything you need to stay alive. It's really funny if you just, if you create these little gardens. So we have this lawn out here that's been a little bit of a sore for me because the weeds come up faster than anything. And it would be nice to play with it a little bit. It's a little tougher in Bakersfield because we have, a lot of parched heat.
But what we can do is maybe put some kind of greenhouse.
We also have the
like
shade over there.
Shading.
Right next to the building. It's a perfect place to experiment a little bit. So if anybody's game,
Yeah,
let us know.
Portia.
And we'll spend a little time in it. Anybody? Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Nico, did you want to share?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm listening to what everyone is saying, and I'm so in agreement with it. It kind of feels like it's such a gift to be in this spiritual community where I can see what's happening all around us. And I don't really listen to the news, but my mother does. And sometimes when I'm passing through, I'll hear things that they say are going on. But the beautiful gift is that I'm in this community of people who think a lot like I think, and who are people who put their attention on what is possible and the good that already is here and now. And that's so wonderful. And like BJ said, this has been an opportunity for me that I had a couple of projects that I wanted to get going, book discussions and some other things. And because of the pandemic, I was sort of inspired into learning Zoom and continuing to learn it all the time. But, I'm already doing 2 or 3 events on Zoom that I probably would not have done because I would have telling myself, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. And now there is that. There's not that I'm too busy. It's like, let me step into this golden opportunity.
Perfect. Isn't that neat, Nico?
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Look at how God's using all of us in so many expansive ways. It's so exciting. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Nico.
Thank you.
Cheryl, did you want to say a little something?
Cheryl.
There.
One thing I can say to everything is amen. I don't know if that's sufficient, but for me, it is amen to the message today, to what everyone has expressed.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're like a
Amen.
walking amen. You know that?
Yes.
Judy and Michelle, did you have anything you want to share?
I think it's just Judy.
Can't
Hey, Judy.
can't unmute you, so you'd have to do it yourself.
Oh,
Okay,
there
let's
she
go on
is.
to.
There she is.
Okay, there she is.
Hey, Judy.
Just good morning to everyone.
Good morning. What's come up for you from service today?
Oh, I don't know what to say.
Okay,
No
no
problem. We
problem.
love that you're here. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming.
thanks for being here.
Jerry, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing well. I hate to throw a damper on the enthusiasm, but
No problem.
yesterday, uh, we were water skiing, and one of our friends was there with his daughter, who turned 17 on the 8th of this month, and that made me think. I can remember back that far of when I was in high school, and how this pandemic would have impacted me at that time. And so I really feel for the young people, the 5-year-old that has the birthday party and people go by and they honk the horn and they leave presents on the lawn. And I can even remember that thing and a birthday party like that. I think for those of us who are older, uh, many of us can handle it. I think there are many who aren't handling it very well, but uh, for me, life goes on, and I'm enjoying it. But I really think the impact on the young is something that's going to last for a long, long time for those people. And
Jerry, that's a beautiful call for compassion, so thank you.
so, that's my thought for today.
Jerry, that is so beautiful because Eckhart Tolle was talking about that today or this week too, about how, and thank God they've got the energy, they've got the stamina. The youth have the opportunity to think outside the box now. I mean, they're like, okay, so what could be possible now with this in place? And they're so creative. And Eckhart was just talking too about how real masters come normally and typically come from very extreme circumstances, whether it be repression, depression, abuse, just a lot of discontent with the way they're feeling. And so they come up with beautiful ways of being in the world that would have come about had they not had the what we would call the more negative experience. Because one of the things is, even when, as we even think about death too, it's like when the ripple in the ocean is gone, right? It's a form, it's a way that we've always known something to be. It's just the ripple's gone, but it goes back into consciousness, which is something we call very good, right? But yet we will call something that goes back into source or the opportunity to awaken bad because of circumstances. And if we allow ourselves to feel that connection with source, to feel that connection with the oneness, whether the ripple is there or it isn't for the time being, what is it pushing us into becoming?
You know, and
the youth, they've got the energy to keep.
yeah, and the young adults for today, it did something amazing for me about 10 years ago. You guys know I follow technology a whole lot, and you know, I have a degree in engineering, actually computer science and engineering from way back when. And I was really worried that when, you know, wow, this whole addiction to materialism and you see the greed over money and these types of things, and then all of a sudden a bunch of things happened, and we like cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is a far more secure currency. However, it's being used to do some really horrible things, blackmail and pay for things on the side. So the youth came up with this, though, because they didn't like all the materialism and greed that was going on. The youth came up with the concept, I don't need to buy a car to own a car or to have a ride. And they came up with Uber and all these, you know, ride sharing and being able to deliver meals, and people that have cars should be using it a lot of the time instead of it sitting there and being wasted all day, because the youth of today doesn't see any sense in buying something just to own it. They're actually looking at the experience. And so while I was worried that the culture we have, that I came from, which was all about, you know, rising to the top of the pyramid and owning the big house and having the fancy car and lots of money and impressing people with parties or whatever, the youth of today is not interested in that so much. They're more interested in something more sustainable, most of them that we've met and worked with. And
and maybe after they get over their depression.
Yes, and it is, I'm sure it's tough, but I was encouraged because there's an undercurrent. There's a whole economy called the sharing economy that is underneath the economy that is from my era, which is all about, you know, do what you're told and build wealth, and you'll have a retirement account and then you'll be able to retire. And frankly, the statistics aren't great for people that stockpiled money and then quit their job at age 65 and then didn't have anything really to look forward to. They don't last very long. But if we're going to share everything we have, which is what the kids of today are willing to do. They're willing to share instead of, I own a car and it's just for me. Airbnb, Tamara and I know the owners of Airbnb. We worked with them when the company had 15 people. The owners attended a workshop that I was putting on. We've had an amazing connection with the folks at Zappos. We got married at Zappos, at the corporate office of Zappos, a shoe store, because it was so much fun. So
okay, so who is Zoom.us right here? We're going to unmute you. Go ahead. If you'd like to share.
There's someone there.
Called Zoom.us.
Don't know who it is, and we don't know how to identify them. How about Sue?
Okay. Hey, Sue. How are you doing, my sweet friend?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Hi. Yeah, I just always appreciate you guys for your positivity and look at things from that positive angle, no matter what. And I tend to do that, but it can be forgotten sometimes. So I appreciate you guys so much for that. And this week I've been really recognizing how much I'm focusing on relationships more than I normally do, because all the extracurricular of life is gone. And it's how it should be all along, you know, seeing more people, staying connected, talking, looking up old relatives I haven't connected with. It's just been wonderful.
Wow.
Thank you, Sue. You're speaking for all of us. So thanks so much.
Sue, thank you so much. And thank you for your generosity, my sweet friend.
And before we close real quick, Portia, did you have something to throw in?
Hey, Portia.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We can hear you.
Oh, you could hear me. Can you see me now? Can you see me?
Oh, good to see you, Portia.
Hi. Okay, good. Yeah, we're cooking. Tim and I are cooking. Actually, we're cooking these things from the farmer's market. These are called sugar snap peas. They're the most delicious sweet from the farmer's market, and it's only around in the springtime.
Wow.
Very good.
I loved your message. I loved your message. Beautiful.
Thank you, sweetheart. And you know we're going to be planting your orange tree very soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So
all right.
Unity
I'll
Garden.
go back to mute and, you know.
Okay.
Great to see you. Love you, Portia.
Good to see you. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Great.
Bye.
Oh, so good to see everybody. God bless you. Oh my goodness. Now we're going to wrap up with our prayer protection.
Actually, our offering. So
Our
we'll just say
offering.
our
And
offertory blessing.
thank you guys for, oh my goodness, your donations are definitely going towards sustaining us and definitely going to be helping me with, I'm very hopeful, the slideshow and the computer attached to that.
So all together, please, the divine love
Through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
And then all together, please, we're going to have our
We bless you.
peace. Actually,
Oh, yeah. No,
you
we
want
could do
the
our
peace
peace
song?
song. Yeah,
No?
our peace song, Dylan. So take it away, Dylan.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Love you guys. Thank you so much for being with us. Look at your emails, and something's coming in the mail for you.
And you guys are welcome to have a little fellowship afterward, but let's start with our prayer of protection. The love of light.
End with the prayer of protection.
Let's end with the prayer of protection. Well, we're going to end with the prayer of protection, but then you guys can stay online and have a little fellowship if you like. So, all together.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And wherever God is, all is well. All is well. Love you guys.
Feel free to unmute.
Okay.
Talk to yourselves.
All righty.
Talk amongst